that kullu aati qareeb, anything that is coming, anything that is close is already here. In the blink of an eye, Ramadan has come to an end. And in the blink of an eye, I'm giving the last 5 minutes talk for Ramadan 1445 AH. I pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our ibadat. I pray that all that we have asked for from Allah Azza wa Jal, may He grant it to us. I pray that even those things that we didn't seek for from Allah that are good for us in our worldly life and the hereafter, may Allah grant it to us as well. The theme of this year's 5 minutes was on the state of the Ummah. And it was for a specific reason. Seeing what our brothers and sisters are going through in Gaza. Seeing what different Muslims in different parts of the world are going through in Sudan, in Jordan, in different parts of the world that we see crises, Somalia, and also in our dear nation, Nigeria as well. There are lessons that I hope each and every one of us will take back from all that I have said, of not just looking at the challenges and the problems, but also looking at the solutions. And so I will give solutions on 3 specific classifications of how we can all work together to attain that. The very first solution to all the problems I mentioned, and there are a plethora of them, most I could not expatiate enough. The very first solution is to work within ourselves. If we want to change our state, then that change must start from us as individuals. The very first thing we must do to correct what we see of the ills in society is to correct ourselves first. I want us to take a cue from Ashabul Kahf, the inhabitants of the cave. In a surah, and this surah we all recite it, we've memorized it, we recite it every Friday, every Jum'ah. It is meant to make us reflect on how, especially the young men who all of them at one point in time or the other saw an evil and knew it was an evil. Each one individually began to draw away from the society. So it takes each and every one of us individually to make the intention that we want to do the right thing, and then Allah will guide us on how to go about it. The second is the community. It is not enough that you say you are upright and you are the only one that exists in your community that is upright. If you do so, then you have lost already. But if you are a leader, or if you are a righteous person who sees to raise other righteous people in the community, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will support you through that, because it takes a village to raise a child, as they say. But if that village is good, then that child will also grow to be good. So as a community, we must all come together to say we want to see what is good, we want to change our state to what is positive, and we want to make positive impact. It is only through gathering good people together to come together and sit down and have thoughts and discussions like minds that you would actually make true progress. The third is the government. I've started with the individual. Why? Because one man can make a difference. Just as the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam made a difference through the way he was able to interact with individuals that came to Islam, but ultimately by the guidance of Allah, but because he also made that effort. And through that he built the companions, the Sahabas, and through that they built the Muslim Ummah. So for any nation to be progressive, the government has to be of the people that are upright. We cannot choose to say we will stay back or turn away from governance any longer. Because what happens is that those who do not seek for the goodness of the nation are the ones who go into power. And next thing you know, you have people whom you are at their mercy, who are only interested in their selfish interest, or they are only interested in growing their pockets and not the benefit of the Ummah. Any government that exists that does not see the people it leads as the most important, then that government does not deserve to be there in the first place. And that's the message that we give to the government today, to everyone in power or everyone in position. Remember that Allah will call you to account. Remember that whatever you are doing today, even if you might have all of your might and strength to do it, you will one day leave that place, and it is the legacy you have left behind that will follow you. Any government that wants to make true change should focus on the needs of the people. And no time than ever before that Nigerians, we need three things, three basic things. If any government comes and fulfills that, then wallahi, this country will remember them. They have written their names in gold, because forever this nation will remember them for that. The very first thing is power, electricity. Al-Qahrabah. Any government that comes to resolve that issue for the masses will surely go down in history as a government that was truly focused on the plight of the people. Why? Because when you resolve the issue of power, of electricity, you are going to bring back industries. You are going to raise more manufacturing industries, the likes of the Kaduna textiles that used to exist, the likes of other textiles that existed in the southwest, in Calabar, in so many parts of this country, that because of electricity, they had to completely die. If you bring power to this nation, you will generate such an industrialization or a move to industrialization that this nation will grow to become one of the most powerful industrialized nations in the world. The second is agriculture. If you want a people to really love and respect you, ensure that it is easy for them to gain access to food. Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu used to say, Al-Faqr yahdi ila al-kufr. Poverty leads to disbelief. When a man is hungry and poor, there is no amount of knowledge you will try to put in their head that they will understand. So if you feed a nation and you make it easy for them to have access to food, then you have solved a major problem for them, and that would help them to be more innovative in seeking for other ways of making life easy. The third is security. If a nation is secure, not only will you have people investing from outside that nation, you will equally have citizens of the nation going to invest in one another. That a person can go from the north to the south, or come from the south to the north, and feel comfortable to bring all of his wealth in order to make the life of not just himself or those he works for, or those in the environment of where he is investing in, but the entire nation as a whole. If you resolve these three things, then I promise you, the nation will head towards a greater track that, inshallah, in the next 5 to 10 years, many will begin to see Nigeria as the true leader amongst nations that it is. Because if there is one thing I believe, Allah has created us, made us from this country, because there is a greater purpose for us. It is not calling ourselves the giants of Africa alone. Allah wants us to rise to this, to take hold of what He has placed upon us of ni'mah, and use that to change the world as we once did before. Because everywhere you go to across the world, people still recognize that the faith of the Nigerians, the people of Nigeria, it is a blessing that they are even wishing they could have such similar blessings in their own lands. Whether you go to the masajid, or you go to places of worship, places of sadaqah, places of charity, you will see that many have come out in order to support each other, especially when it is the blessed month of Ramadan. I ask that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all that we have done, and again forgive us all of our shortcomings, and count us from amongst those that will be salvaged from the fire. And may He make this nation a great nation that we will all be proud of, and our generation unborn will be proud of. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide and protect each and every one of us. If we do get to meet again in another year for Ramadan, I pray that Allah makes us to meet in goodness and in good health. And if we are to depart this world before the next Ramadan, then please let us remember each other in dua, and let us pray that we meet each other in Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la with the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.